Okay, so today we're actually going to talk about a figure and its transformation and what happened to it. Now that we know what the three transformations are that we started with, translating, which is what? What do I do when I translate a figure? I slide it, good. Reflecting, I flip it, yeah. And then rotation is when I spin it. And now that we know what the three are, we're going to start to look at images, like this green shape. And then its transformation, which is the gray shape. So we started with the green, we got to the gray, and we're going to start to talk about what did we do to that figure. Did I spin it? Did I flip it? Did I slide it? That's what we're going to talk about today. So the figure on the right is the transformation of the green. The green is going to be our original. And we're going to figure out what we did to it. So is that representing from the green to the gray? Does that represent a translation, a reflection, or a rotation? Now think about all the ways you could have moved the figure. Christian, what do you think? Or reflection. Okay, does anyone think something else? Or do we all agree reflection? Why do we think it's a reflection? What is it about the figure that just kind of makes it seem like it was reflected? Yeah, I mean, we can see that it looks like I took a piece of paper and I just folded it over the other way and I just flipped that image. Good. What would this figure look like if it was rotated, like 90 degrees or 100 degrees? 180, I'm sorry. So if we're thinking about degrees, what would 180 degrees be? If I had something here, what would it mean to flip it 180 degrees? The arrow would actually go halfway around the circle to there. That would be, if I did 360, it would be the full circle. So 180 would be basically from up to down, but 90 would be from pointing straight up to that way, like halfway to the halfway point. So a quarter of the way around the circle. What would the green figure look like if it were rotated? So right now it looks, we have this shape, right? What would it look like if you spun it in any direction? Michael?
If you spun it 180 degrees, the thing that's sticking down would be up.
Yeah, if you rotated this 180 degrees, then this part would actually be sticking up. So it would be something like this, right? Mm-hmm. Good. And if you did it just 90 degrees, where would the long part of this shape be if you spun it 90 degrees? It could be up if you spun it to this direction, or it could be facing down if you moved it that way. Now this is a tough topic to cover on a smartboard because from a visual perspective, if you're talking about moving a figure, it's hard to imagine where it moves. Right? So that's why you can always sketch this stuff in your notebook and show movement. Okay, we have tracing paper, which we're going to use over on the side, and we use it for this purpose, for you to put a figure on and then actually move it. So how do the lengths of the sides in the original figure in that green shape compare to the lengths in the new shape? What happened when it was reflected?
Well, the long side, instead of facing to the left, like facing to the right.
So like this?
Yeah.
Okay. So what changed with the length itself?
Nothing.
Nothing. This length here is how many units long?
5.
5. And this one here is also still. What do you notice about all the other corresponding sides? Yeah, they're still the same. These still match up. Everything about this shape is still the same. So let's talk about the angles. What angles do you see in that figure? Okay, and how about after it was reflected? Still right. Did any of the angles change? So not only is the shape the same size, but what do you notice about all of the angle measures? They're still also the same. Good. Are any of the sides parallel in the original?
Yeah.
Which ones?
Top and bottom.
So we have like this, this, and this. Are they still parallel once I reflected it?
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. And then we also have this, this, and this still parallel. Good. So here, you're going to work on this, and I know we're doing, it's like our DOL, but it's a little early. What I want you to do, I'm going to give you graph paper. You're going to draw this shape. Now, I want you to pay really close attention to the units, right? Because you're going to use graph paper, so imagine on your graph paper you have the same number of units. So here's our original shape. That was our original. We did 3 things to it. First, we did some type of transformation to get it to shape A. From the original, we did something to get it to shape B. And then we did something from the original to get it to shape C. Now, what I want to stress is we did not go from the original to A and then from A to B. Everything is from this original image, what did you do to it to get to A? What did you do to the original to get to B? And what did you do to the original to get to C? What I want you to identify as you're going through the transformations that took place. Number 1, what would it have meant if you rotated it or reflected it or translated it? How would the image look different? Second, be specific in your movement. If you're saying it's a reflection, I want you to show on your graph paper the line of reflection. What line did it actually flip over? If you're showing that it rotated, I want to see that point of rotation, right? That center of rotation. What is the point that it actually spun around? Right? And if you see a rotation, could you figure out the degrees that it rotated? Now, before you start that, I am going to hand out graph paper, but I'm going to pause this for just a quick second.